So I'm thankful to have a moment just to share a few thoughts with you this evening, to be in fellowship with our mayor and our city leaders and just all those who love Jackson. If you love Jackson, Mississippi, say a little something. Okay, all right, somebody in here loves Jackson. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the team for including the Jackson Public Schools community in this event this evening. Just appreciate you all giving us an opportunity to showcase our young talent and, of course, the team members who've been working with them. Let's please give them another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. We're all striving daily to make you proud and, of course, to give our young people amazing experiences to help them to seek out and achieve any and every dream that they might ever dream. You know, as I reflect on the last 6 years leading Jackson Public Schools, 6 years, y'all. 6 years. I was great when I got here, but I wasn't this great. Y'all did this. Well, your little people did this. But as I reflect on the last 6 years, we've overcome quite a bit. Quite a bit. We, of course, staved off the threatened takeover by the state. Absolutely. We've weathered, literally and figuratively, many storms over the last several years. Storms that at some points really brought us to our knees and stopped our operations, right? Literally made us pause. We've overcome several infrastructure challenges, and I'm talking Jackson Public Schools and the city of Jackson. We all know that as an urban center that we have crime and violence. And unfortunately, we have to deal with that from time to time. And I'm thankful, though, that we have a chief of police whose leadership and the way that he approaches policing and engages with the community and engages with all the partners, that we've got a chief who is working to turn around so many of these challenges that we have. And they're not just his to turn around, but leading the rest of us in thinking about how we best address some of the crime that we have dealt with over the years in our city. And then let us not forget that we did, in fact, live through, many of us, well, all of us here, lived through a pandemic. There was no playbook for that. We in Jackson Public Schools, we in the city, across the state, around the world, we're all trying to figure out how to stay alive, let alone continue to educate our babies, to feed our families, and to keep businesses running and all those things. No playbook for it. With lots of folks who had all kinds of ideas about what should have happened or what shouldn't happen in dealing with a global, once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. You know, leading a large, complex organization, I think about often kind of what it takes. There's so many people with so many ideas about what should be done, how you lead a school district, how you lead a city, how you lead any organization. And the reality is most people have never done that and will never do that, right? And I understand that as you take on a leadership role that you kind of sign up for all the voices and all the challenges, the competing priorities. But just a few thoughts on what it actually takes to try to move a body of people with varying needs and ideas and thoughts. First, that shared vision. You come with your own thoughts. I have some thoughts about what it takes to educate children based on my experience and my education and what I've seen in some other places. And I'm sure all of you and other folks here in the city have thoughts about what it takes and what we should be doing to educate our children. But at some point, we need a shared vision. It can't just be what Errick Greene wants. And I'm very clear on that. And leaders like our mayor and others who have to lead large, complex organizations understand that you've got to work with folks in order to build that shared vision for where we want to go down the road. Of course, you need a strong and comprehensive team, cohesive team. Having individuals in positions, that's not a team. You've actually got to work with folks to understand that we've got to push and support one another. We've got to hold one another accountable. We've got to help people to get smarter in the work that we're setting out to do. We've got to trust one another. We've got to be trustworthy. All those things that don't just happen. These are some of the things that we've learned over time in Jackson Public Schools. You need clear plans for executing and moving from here to there. Not just goals, but a plan to get from here to that goal that you've set. And of course, bright spots. How many of you know there are people out there who are anxious to show you the things that don't work? Is that anybody else's life? There are folks who are anxious to point out the things that don't work. We as leaders, we as folks who care about moving our agenda and our work and our people forward, we have to be those who look for and lift up the bright spots. And of course, once you find that bright spot, then you start to see some other bright spots around. Individuals, groups, programs, things that are working. And then after a while, you start to build some momentum. You start to see that, you know what, this place is not as dark as it once seemed. We actually have a little bit of light, and we're building more and more light. And you string those together, you got some momentum, and you start to see we're closer to the goals that we've set. I'm very proud of Jackson Public and what we've been able to do over these past several years in moving our school district. For years, we were rated F. We were struggling on all fronts for years. And not just because of Errick Greene, but because of the people who care about our children, who care about our communities, our families. We've been able to move our school district up 2 letter grades. We've been able to increase graduation rate by 13, 14 points. We've been able to increase our performance on the state test and many other indicators that show that we're actually far better off today than we were at another point. I'm proud of that. And I want to say to you, Mr. Mayor, I thank you for your support and for your encouragement of me and of Jackson Public Schools to help us to get to a place where we're continuing to build and we can be proud of our school district and know that we're giving our scholars more of what they absolutely deserve, every one of them. JPS is definitely on the move, y'all. Does anybody else know that? JPS is on the move. And guess what? The city of Jackson is on the move as well. We, right here in Jackson, Mississippi, are on to something. I've lived in some other places. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. I lived in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, lived in Detroit for a minute, Tulsa. All those cities experienced a resurgence. How many of you know a resurgence is happening and is coming to Jackson, Mississippi? Well, it's not just enough to know it. We've all got to be a part of that resurgence. And so I challenge each and every one of us, to be a part of what works here in Jackson and to build up and keep working together for that resurgence. I want to be around to see it. Amen. Let's do it.
I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah. It's all God. All right. Got the Errick Greene, y'all.